Good morning, friends. This is Bucha. Today we are going to make a new cheese preparation. Today we are going to make a hard cheese, Venezuelan style. This video I had already repeated. I had already done it, a long time ago, about 4 years ago. But the techniques that I am using right now have been improved. So I'm going to re-edit this video, make it again with the new techniques I've had. I'll show you the ingredients. Here I have 4 gallons of pasteurized and homogenized milk from the supermarket. 4 gallons that make approximately 15 liters of milk. I'm going to add them here in the pot so that they start to heat up. I'll show you when it starts to heat up. Okay, I already added the milk to the pot. I'm going to turn it on minimum heat so it heats up little by little. Right now I have 10 degrees Celsius. I'm checking it with a thermometer I have attached to the pot. You can't see, here it is. You can't see it nearly. So what I'm going to do is take this to more or less 32 Celsius. Then I will add the additives, which are the calcium chloride and the rennet, which we are going to prepare right now. I will show you how to prepare this. The first ingredient that I am going to add is calcium chloride. This is a calcium chloride that is diluted at 33%. So what we are going to do, here says, for each gallon, you have to add 1/4 teaspoon. So since I have 4 gallons, I'm going to add a teaspoon of calcium chloride, which I'm going to mix in about 1/4 cup of distilled water as clean as possible. This is going to be added when the milk has reached its curdling temperature, which is going to be 32 degrees Celsius. I'll show you then how we prepare the rennet. The rennet I'm going to use is Bixa rennet. It's microbial rennet. It says here to mix 2 or 3 grams of Bixa rennet with 1/4 cup of non-chlorinated water for 100 liters. But in this case, I'm only making 15 liters, so I'll use 1/4 teaspoon, which is about 1 gram roughly. I put this 1/4 teaspoon here and add it to the 1/4 cup of water, mix it, and let it sit for a while so it dissolves little by little. The water will turn a brownish color. So now, I need to heat the milk. I'll show you how. Make sure to stir constantly with the heat not too high, between low and medium until it reaches the coagulating temperature, which will be 32 degrees Celsius. Well, we've reached the coagulation temperature. I've been heating it for about 20 minutes. The first thing I'm going to do is turn off the heat and first add the calcium chloride while stirring, making sure to bring well-mixed things from the bottom up so it all combines. Once we mix it well, we'll add the rennet and stir again. Remember, I don't know if I mentioned that calcium chloride is used because this milk is pasteurized and homogenized. We add calcium chloride to restore some of the calcium lost in these processes to help with the coagulation, and rennet is to actually curdle the milk. Okay, we'll stir a little more, and then we'll let this sit for about an hour. I'll even take it off the heat since there is residual heat, allowing it to rest completely. Then just cover the pot to let the milk sit completely undisturbed where the rennet works best. All right, friends, we're back. An hour has passed, and this is perfectly coagulated. What I'm going to do now is make some cuts with this knife. First, I'll turn on the heat to low to start warming the curd. I'm going to make cross cuts about 1 inch apart, which would be about 2.5 centimeters. Doesn't have to be exact. It doesn't matter if the cuts aren't perfectly straight. What's important is to make gentle cuts in both directions, allowing the whey to drain more easily and helping with the smooth separation between the curds and the whey. Okay, now I'm going to cut in the other direction like this. What we're looking for with this is to create whey lines where we made the cuts. So we'll cover this and keep it over low heat for 10 minutes so that when we lift it, we should see lines of whey where we made the cuts. Then we continue with the process of breaking the curd. See you in a bit. All right, so 10 minutes have passed. Notice how there are already quite a few whey lines formed, meaning the whey is rising. What we're going to do now is keep the heat on low and gently stir this with the knife. We will be doing this for approximately 20 to 30 minutes, cutting it into small pieces. As the heat is on low, the curd will cook slowly and the whey will continue to rise. What we want is for the curd to drop to the bottom and the whey to rise so we can separate it. The idea is to remove about 70% of the initial volume of milk, which in this case was 15 liters, so 70% will be 10.5 liters. This is what we're going to extract before adding the salt. And we will mix the salt with the remaining 30%. So I will keep cutting the curd into small pieces, and I'll show you when it's at bottom, and then we can start removing the whey. Okay, see you soon. Ready. Well, now 20 minutes have passed. Look how I've been cutting with the knife, and the curd has started to settle at the bottom. So now, using this metal strainer, it's very easy for me to start removing the whey. Remember, we need to remove 70% of the whey, which in this case for 15 liters is 10.5 liters, leaving only 30% behind. I'll help myself with any cup to collect the whey as I go along, so I'm measuring to remove those 10.5 liters. Okay, I'll show you when I have collected the 10.5 liters. All right, I've managed to extract 70% of the initial volume, which was 15 liters, so we've collected 10.5 liters. Here I have 250 grams of salt, which can be regular salt. This is a Venezuelan cheese, and it doesn't need any special type of salt. So do some quick math, and for 15 liters, you would need approximately 250 grams of salt. If you have more, you can adjust accordingly. I'm going to add it there and mix it with my hand. Okay, I'll distribute it well, and once it's fully mixed, I'll transfer it to the press. It will be in the press for 5 days. I'll show you when I move it into the press. All right, I've filled the whole mold with the curd. It's quite liquid, so what I'm going to do is let it drain for a while on the sink to allow the excess whey to drain out. When the level drops, then I'll place the follower on it, because if I put it on now, it will make a mess. So I'll do that, and I'll show you when it's ready for pressing. I've had it sitting for a bit in the sink so it can drain. Now what I have to do is set up the press. First, I'll put on a light weight. This is 10 pounds, so it starts to drain. It will continue to drain and drain. Once it's more compact, I'll add another 10 pounds, making it 20 pounds in total. Then I'll leave it for 5 days, turning it every day and sprinkling a little salt on it. I'll keep you updated on the progress. See you tomorrow. Good day, friends. Here I am again. The cheese has now been in the press for a day. It was quite watery and I had to flip it several times. It's still pretty damp, as you can see. When I was flipping it, it would fall apart, but it's no big deal. I just put it back in the mold and pressed it again. I had to flip it a few times and it's starting to take shape, but it's still very wet. I'm going to flip it now and show you again. It might break a little, but as I mentioned, that's not a problem. Just put it back in the mold and keep pressing it until it loses all the liquid. It'll take about 5 days. So here you can see I've taken it out and I'm putting it back in the mold. Some parts might break, but you can simply put them back. The cheese is starting to take shape. Only a little broke. Yesterday, when I flipped it, it fell apart completely, but now it's holding its shape better. Okay, I'm going to keep pressing it, and tomorrow, after 48 hours, it should be a bit firmer. By the 5th day, it should be much firmer. I'll show you the progress tomorrow. Good day, friends. It's Booch here again. We're now on the 2nd day of pressing. I wanted to show you the press. Over there, I have 20 pounds of weight on the lever, which applies more than 50 pounds of direct pressure on the cheese. Notice that when we started, the cheese level was up here, and in just 2 days, we've managed to press it down to here. It's hardly releasing any whey now. You can see how much has been drained so far. The cheese is turning over easily without breaking and is becoming quite firm. I just wanted to give you this update. On the 5th day, I'll take it out of the press and coat it with butter, ground coffee, and a little salt to let it age for 14 days. See you when the 5th day is done. Cheers. Good afternoon, friends. This is El Buche. Today is still the 4th day of pressing. However, I'm going to start preparing what we will use to paint the cheese, which will be butter, ground coffee, and salt. So here I've melted a stick of butter and added a little bit of olive oil to give it a different flavor, a unique touch. And here I'm grabbing some ground coffee. I'm going to add 3 tablespoons. Try to get dark coffee, really dark so it colors the cheese well. So stir it and let it sit there for a while. The butter was hot, it is still hot. So notice what we are trying to do here. We're getting the coffee to release all its oils so it colors the cheese better than if we were just using ground coffee by itself, okay? This way it will color the cheese better. And I add a little bit of salt to taste. Then I stir. I'm going to let this mixture cool so it's ready for tomorrow when we take the cheese out of the press. Well, see you tomorrow when we paint the cheese. Take care. Good day, friends. Well, finally the 5th day of pressing has passed. I've taken the cheese out of the press. As you can see, it weighs 2 kilograms, 217 grams. Right now, it's a semi-hard cheese. And what I'm going to do next is coat it with the preparation we made yesterday of butter, coffee, and a little bit of salt. I'll show you how I do this process. So I placed a paper towel underneath, and now we're going to coat it. I'm going to start applying and coating the cheese so that it gets protected and starts acquiring that color we're aiming for, which will be marbled between black and white. All right, I'm doing that now, and I'll show you how it looks afterward. Okay, friends, I've finally finished coating it with the mixture. This is how it turned out. By the end of the aging process, it will have a marbled appearance. All that black coating we applied will settle into the cracks of the cheese, and it will have a very nice marbled effect. The other thing I'm going to do is cover it with this metal strainer to protect it from any insects. I'll also place a fan, as you can see here, to help the cheese dry out. Every day I'll change the paper towel and flip the cheese. Additionally, I'll rotate it during the day so that the fan's air reaches the entire circumference of the cheese. So, we'll meet again in 14 days when I'll show the final presentation of the cheese. See you in 2 weeks. Take care. Good afternoon, friends. Booch here again. I just wanted to let you know that today marks the first day of aging with 13 days left to go. I wanted to share with you that I wanted a stronger coffee flavor and color, so I added more ground coffee to the cheese. Look how beautiful this cheese is turning out. So as I mentioned, I'll keep it like this, flipping it every day and replacing the paper towel. Thanks, friends, and we'll see each other in 13 days. Good day, friends. It's Bucha here again. We're continuing with our Venezuelan hard cheese preparation. The 2-week aging period is over, and look how beautiful the cheese turned out. Now I'm going to wash it to remove the impurities from the coffee and salt, then weigh it to get the final weight and calculate the yield. Afterward, this cheese will be ground and used in various Venezuelan dishes. In this case, we'll showcase it in a typical Venezuelan cachapa. I'll go ahead and wash it, and I'll show you the final weight. Best regards. Well, here's the final result of the washed cheese. As you can see, it has a beautiful marbled effect, as I mentioned before, with the coffee settling into the cracks. The appearance and texture are excellent. The final weight of the cheese is 1.432 kilograms, which gives us an approximate yield of 10.5 liters of milk per kilogram of cheese. Remember, the yield is lower because this is a hard cheese, and all the whey has been extracted, leaving only pure cheese mass. Now, I'm going to grind it. It could also be grated using the smallest side of a grater, but it's easier for us to grind it with this food grinder and use it as ground cheese. This is typical in my homeland of Venezuela. So here we have a typical Venezuelan cachapa. It's made with queso de mano, and the cachapa is folded so that the cheese is inside, like a sort of sandwich. On top, we add cream, and then we sprinkle it with the ground hard cheese, which gives it that distinct and delicious flavor so characteristic of cachapas. This is a cultural heritage of Venezuela. I highly recommend you make the hard cheese and add it to your cachapa. You won't regret it. Now I'm going to taste it and let you know how it is. Well, here's the final result, truly indescribable. Thank you, friends. It's been a pleasure making this video for you. Signing off, this is Buche, over and out.